Hey everybody, I'm Lee with Olsen Equine, and today we've got a special guest here. This is Jane Melby. This is a two-time NFR Qualifier, and what horse did you have with us today?
I brought Slick and Black, Spatch.
So this is your daughter's horse?
Yes.
Cool. Well, we got her fixed up on the feet, but we started getting in a great conversation I wanted to share with you about traction, ground troubles, shoeing for ground troubles. Let's get back into that. So many times you'll hear stories about ground trouble and issues that come up, and Lindsay Sears was just here and y'all had a great conversation too about how good barrel racers have it now compared to the way it was, and she stressed that it needs to keep getting better, but from what it was, how different was it before?
Well, we ran on a lot more trashy ground. They didn't rake at all. You ran 12 deep, hard, it didn't matter. 12 girls.
Yeah, that's
Back
huge.
in the day, there was 15.
Right.
By raking at the rodeos has definitely helped. But I see so many of these barrel horses, when people complain about the ground, they're so hollowed out coming into the turn.
Right.
A hollowed out horse, its back is hewed, its nose is up, its hind end's behind it. When it hits that hard pan, it goes down.
And what's the first thing they do when that happens? They're going to want to change.
Usually they want to put a bitier shoe on the hind end,
Right.
but then you tear up other things
Right,
and complain about the ground.
for sure.
I know those committees do the best they can to make that ground what it is, but we still have to have a horse that submits to us.
Right. So you're saying, so what do you prefer to run on the hind end of your barrel horses?
Personally, I've always ran plain shoes on the back,
So just a
rim
flat,
on the front.
yeah, so just like a light rim on the front and then just a plain flat shoe on the back. So no traction at all in the back.
Correct.
And did you have many ground troubles?
No.
No. So explain to them about the back. We've got a real barrel right here. It's just like a barrel. So when a horse that does have ground troubles, how do they turn the barrel?
Well,
Typically.
usually they come in there hollowed out, so then if my back legs are their hind end, it gets behind them, their rib cage is braced, and then when they go, their nose is up in the air and slips a foot.
Right.
A horse should come in there where it's soft in the round cage, round in the back, its hind end is underneath them, so when it places that pivot foot to make the turn, it's easy for them.
Right.
You can get through there. If your back is round, your nose is going to be in a good place for your hind end your hind feet are underneath. If your horse is hollowed out, they get too strung out. They can't place that pivot foot. And the pivot foot in a turn, say if this is a second barrel and I'm coming in here, you got to concentrate on that inside hind pivot needs to step deep under the belly to leave the turn. You can't do that with a stiff horse that's hollowed out.
Right. So in short, when the horse gets hollowed out, they get stretched out, too much pressure gets put on one end, and then they're going to slip. Where if they have them collected and underneath themselves, they'll have a lot less ground troubles. Is that right?
Correct, and they got a stronger turn because they can push off hard. Should be faster.
So what happens next? Then, so you tell people that, and then they want to get right in beside the barrel, so they want to get their hip by the barrel, then what happens?
Well, the hip by the barrel, if I'm headed that way to my third barrel, to me, you got to focus on riding all the way around the turn. So this distance here is important. If you take away this distance, you wad them up, but there's nowhere for them to go.
Then they have to shoot out.
Then they shoot out, right? You got to give them that room there so they can power back out.
Right. Well, that to me is pure gold. And I don't run barrels. My wife runs barrels. She's rodeoing this year, so I find it super interesting just how big a difference that makes. I mean, for winning rodeos, keeping horses sound, there's a lot to it, isn't there?
There's a lot to it, and a good shoer, 4th of July is fixing to come, make you or break you.
Right. Right when you need your horse sound, they're going to be tired and sore, aren't they?
Yes.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I'm glad you were here. I'm really glad you were here. Thank you for all the tips.
Yeah, it was nice meeting you.
Yeah, you bet. You guys have a great day, and God bless America.